Hello guys, this is Nicholas Arcini following up on Joshua Kang's presentation for our Transportation ICU, and let's get into it. What should be done to improve this specific issue? There are many ways to improve this issue. Whether we choose to do it or not is why it's become so bad over the years. If we clean our vehicles on a regular basis, this will reduce the exhaust emissions. Carpooling is a great way to also reduce emissions if we all start doing it. Another example is running all of your errands into one trip rather than going home constantly and wasting even more gas and oil and emitting even more greenhouse gases. When in the car in the winter, make sure to not keep your car idling for longer than 5 minutes. Yes, it will be cold, but we must suck it up and do what's better for the environment. Try and take public transportation if possible, and always bring a hand sanitizer or a face mask to make sure you don't catch any germs or get sick. Last but not least, make sure to use less air conditioning and heat. If you do not need to travel far distances, try to walk or take a bike. Not only will that help the environment, but it will help you too. How is our future tied to our ability to manage resources and economic activities? Our future is tied to it because if we keep overusing fossil fuels for gas and other fossil fuel required things, they will all deplete due to being non-renewable. Our society shouldn't be using these things such as gas for cars because we literally found a solution to have electrically powered vehicles. Another reason, if we do not manage our resources, the economies around the world will drop to trees and fish dying because we constantly overuse those common materials. How can educating others resolve this issue or find a solution? In the last few years, it has become a storm of media efforts to try and gain awareness for the issue in climate change. It's unfortunate that this active awareness is only happening now, but there are still people that think climate change is a hoax. Example, Donald Trump. Yet, there are still ways we can try and resolve this problem. If we educate others and our families about how bad air quality is due to carbon emissions, we may be able to persuade our friends, family, and our social media followers to look into buying a hybrid or electric car and inform them about how and taking transportation carpooling and taking transportation, which could reduce the amount of carbon emissions annually, but our government also has to invest more money into public transportation because our public transit systems, like our subway, don't go many places and are fairly small. How is this issue currently affecting Canada? Canada has a population of 36 million people, which isn't that much compared to countries such as the USA and China. Although it isn't that large, most of the Canadian population likes to live in urban cities such as Toronto, Vancouver, Quebec City, etc. Due to this, the air quality in those urban cities isn't that good, especially in the downtown areas, and can provide serious health problems towards the residents in houses and buildings down there. Not only that, but due to the large amount of cars, Canada has a total of 160,000 car accidents each year, with the following 2,800 to 2,900 deaths each year, according to www.thestar.com. Another way it is affecting Canada is that although public transportation is more environmentally friendly, the construction of trains, subways, streetcars, etc. costs money and destroys the environment. Although benefiting the economy with all the oil supply in Alberta, this also harms the environment, such as our bodies of water, like Lake Ontario, due to all of this oil falling into the water and can get you sick. What I mean by that is not the oil sands getting into Lake Ontario, because that's literally impossible, but when people drive boats and big big boats, jet skis, etc., sometimes oil gets into the water, which pollutes the lake in general, and also due to all the concentration of people down there, they throw their garbage in the water, the boats, everything. It makes Lake Ontario unsafe to swim in, and yeah, to drink from as well. Why is it so difficult to adjust our current lifestyle to a more environmentally friendly focus towards a specific topic? The reason it is so difficult to adjust is because people are used to using gas cars, and most people don't want to change their lifestyle. It would be such a surprise to them, and some people wouldn't be comfortable in the change. Also forgot to mention there was a minute 30-second long YouTube video right here according to how it's affecting the world. Electric cars versus gas cars. As I said before, we can conclude that electric cars are more environmentally friendly than gas-powered cars, but we haven't gotten into the full detail. Let us explain. Number 1. Charging an electric car costs less than refueling a gas-powered car. Although costing less, electric cars don't have charging stations regularly available to them as gas-powered cars do. Number 2. Electric cars are far more efficient than gas-powered cars. Electric cars are far more efficient due to having less oil changes, less gas to pay, and less moving parts that break and need repairing. In fact, many electric car owners go years without paying for repairs, says www.fleetcarmar.com. Number 3. Electric cars are safer. When in a car crash with a gas-powered car, due to all of the oil and gas still being in the car, it can light fires and explode way easier than an electric car could, due to not carrying any of those high explosive materials. Percentage of people in Canada that use electric vehicles to gas-powered vehicles. Electric vehicles. 25% of Canadian drivers use electric vehicles. Gas-powered vehicles. 75% of Canadian drivers use gas-powered vehicles. And even though there are 25% that use electric vehicles, that's still a good way to start, because you can see that we're building our way up to a more environmentally friendly country. What is the importance of transportation? Transportation is important because it enables communication, trade, and other forms of exchange between people that in turn establishes civilizations. It also plays a huge role in economic growth and globalization. Different modes of transportation. In total, there are 5 different types of transportation. These include rail, number 1, rail, streetcars, subways, trains, etc. 2, land, cars, buses, motorcycles, bikes, etc. 3, water, boats, jet skis, ships, submarines, etc. Air, jets, airplanes, helicopters, etc. Comparison between public schools transportation and St. Michael's. Due to being a private school, St. Michael's students need to apply and usually have to take a variety of transportation methods, whereas public schools are built in neighborhoods and are very easy to access due to being free. Many St. Mike students either take cars, buses, taxis, Ubers, trains, and streetcars. Public school students either walk, take bikes, or bus it due to being close to their school. Fun, interesting facts. Major automobile companies such as General Motors, Toyota, Honda, and Chrysler create/distribute and sell the majority of cars driven around the world. The trucking industry moves approximately 70% of all freight transported annually. 40% of the world's freight is transported via trains, and that number continues to grow each year. 30% of the world's freight is transferred by trains. The Trans-Canada Highway, which runs 7,821 kilometers from St. John's to Victoria. It's considered to be one of the largest highways in Canada. And here are our sites for pictures, our sites, like our extra sites, and then here are the rest of our sites that we're gonna